Hi, Celise. How are you doing? Welcome to Naya Sim, and thank you all so much for all the love and support. Hope you all are doing great. I came across this full video of Jen earlier talking about racism that is happening, especially towards people that look like me. And that video is actually very interesting, and I thought I'd bring it here because most time when we try to talk about what is going on in our community and how we've been treated and all that, we are being told to keep quiet. But I have never heard them say anything to the people that experience Holocaust. I've never heard them, or to Asians or every other person, or telling them get over it like it's been long ago, right? And she went further to say that most of the things happening is that the truth is that they do not want to teach the real history in schools. Why? Because if they teach the real history in school, how do you want them to still excel, right? Like if you all look around what has been going on, all of a sudden African American history is a very violent, and for that reason, they are trying so hard to eradicate it, and they are actually doing so great eradicating it. But one thing I have promised everybody or have told everybody is that do not, if they eradicate it in school, make sure you do that. It is your duty to teach your kids or your family the history. All right. Moving forward, she actually mentioned about why they are so keen with protecting their skin color and all that, because it looks like that is something that they are holding on to, because if you strip that off from them, like what else do they have? You know what? Let's get into this video.
We had a chance to talk to her. Here's part of that interview. For people who don't know you, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm a third grade teacher in a country school in Riceville, Iowa, and I am here at the NAACP speaking because the day after Martin Luther King Jr. was killed by a society that hated him because he was going to change the economic situation in this country, I did an exercise in discrimination with my third grade classroom to let my little third graders, all white, all Christian children, find out how it feels to be something other than white in the United States of America. I split them according to the color of their eyes and treated those who had their own color eyes for the day the way we have traditionally treated blacks, Native Americans, Asians, all those Jews, all those who are different in appearance or in religion. And we learned more that day than I wanted to know.
What did that study show you?
Oh, it showed me a lot of things. Number one, it showed me that racism is a learned response. Nobody's born a bigot. You have to teach bigotry, and that's what we do in this country. I found out how it feels to be on the receiving end of racism because I'm blue-eyed, and the brown-eyed children were on the top in that first day. And I found out how it feels to be treated badly by people over whom you have power because of having the wrong color eyes. I found out how it feels to be subjected to unbelievable and unreal discrimination because of a physical characteristic over which I had no control. I thought I knew about racism. I thought I knew about child psychology. I knew nothing. All I knew was what I had learned in school. And what I had learned in school was not education. What I got in school wasn't education. It was indoctrination. I was taught how to be a good American citizen. And in this country, we think that the only Americans are the ones who live in the contiguous 48 states of the United States. Americans are everybody from the very north tip of Canada to the very southern tip of South America. But we, in our arrogance, say that we are the only Americans. If you're really going to keep this America to Americans, we don't dare build a wall on the southern border of the United States, because those people, those brown-skinned people that are going to come across that border are Americans. Now, we'd better choose our language or choose our behaviors. Let me tell you something. It wasn't a study, and it wasn't an experiment. I don't experiment with children without their knowledge or their permission. It was experiential education. It was giving a child an experience for the purpose of changing their brain. And that's exactly what it does every time I do it.
Now, you conducted the same study, not study.
Exercise
with adults.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And is it any different between the children and the adults?
Adults get more violent. I've been hit several times by white males, angry white males. I've had a knife pulled on me. They ran me out of Uniontown, Pennsylvania at midnight one night, 3 carloads of blacks did, to get me out of town because the teachers that I put through the exercise in a very limited way were so angry that they called the superintendent in the afternoon and said, if you don't get that bitch out of town, we're going to kill her. So they got me out of town. First time I've been scared. And the last time I've been scared. Because I found out that day that they could kill me, but they couldn't kill the idea. Victor Hugo said, no force on earth can stop an idea whose time has come. The idea of one race, the human race, is an idea whose time has come. We are not going to be able to stop it no matter what they do. They can elect Trump after Trump after Trump, and that will not stop the idea that there's only one race on the face of the earth. It's the human race, and we are all members of it. You and I are cousins. Now, if you don't like being my cousin, that's too bad for you. But we are all in the same family. We are members of the family of man.
You say that all whites are racist. Can you expound on that, please?
Any white person who was born, raised, and schooled in the United States of America, if you aren't a racist, you're a miracle. Either that or you decided to educate yourself. Because education in this country is about white is right, brown's all right, black's got to stand back. Yellow's mellow, but whites, we educate in a way that says that white males have done all the adventures, have made all the adventures, have done all the discovering, have made all, everything that is good and has been accomplished according to social studies, which is actually anti-social studies, by white males. It's a lie. But we do that in order to maintain the myth of white superiority. The myth of race has to be maintained at all costs in this country. Because if white people have to give up the color of their skin as being something that makes them perfect, what do they have left? If we start teaching the truth about history, if we start teaching about Nile Valley contributions to civilization, it will totally change the way we conduct ourselves in the classroom. It will have to. Columbus didn't discover America. You can't discover a place where people are already living. But we celebrate that every October. It's a lie. We need to get over, we need to stop telling the myths and start telling the truth.
So when you tell people that they're racist, and it must have some kind of effect, because most people will say, I'm not racist.
I'm not a racist. Why, some of my best friends are black.
Right.
Yeah, and then you say, name one. Or this one, I don't see color. And when some woman says to me, I don't see color, I say, I knew that. If you saw color, you wouldn't dye your hair that way. Or I say, if you saw color, you wouldn't wear that shirt with those pants. I believe that you don't see color. It's an attempt to deny skin color. And it's an attempt to deny what's wrong with seeing the color of my skin. Is it all right for you to see me kind of pink? That's okay for me. I don't mind. And I suspect that you don't mind being seen the color you are. You have a right to be what you are. And until people in this country and people in this world get it into their heads that the first modern human beings that evolved on this earth were black women. They evolved in sub-Saharan Africa about 280,000 years ago, and every human being on the face of the earth today has the memory of those black women's genetic structure in their genes. Now, we don't want to admit that, but that's the way it is. And as people moved farther and farther from the equator, their bodies produced less and less melanin, so their hair, their skin, and their eyes got lighter. As they moved into the east, they ate a lot of fish and a lot of vegetables, so their skin took on a different tone. I found that out when I was raising little kids. My husband worked in a supermarket. He was the head of the produce department. And they had lots of oranges that they couldn't sell, so he'd bring them home. And I was feeding my kids orange juice like you never saw in your life. They began to have an orange cast to their skin. I thought they had a liver problem. So I took him to the doctor, and she said, what are you feeding these kids? I said, well, lots of orange juice. She said, stop it if you want them to stop being orange. Now, if you think that skin color isn't anything other than the body's natural reaction to the natural environment, get over it.
So if all white people are racist, according to you, can they be reprogrammed?
Well, of course they can. Of course they can. Of course they can be. It's called education. I'm an educator. The word educator comes from the root duc dus, which means lead, the prefix e, which means out, the suffix ate, which means the act of, and the suffix or, which means one who does. An educator is one who is engaged in the act of leading people out of ignorance. Now, I know you can change them. The second The second year I did the blue-eyed, brown-eyed exercise in my classroom, it was filmed by the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation. They gave me a copy of that film. I showed it to my father. My father was about 59 years old at the time. He's been a farmer all his life. He raised six kids, lost one, raised six. Watched that film as a 59-year-old man. When it was over, he stood up, and with tears in his eyes, he took his red handkerchief out of the back pocket of his overalls, his bib overalls, and said, "I wish somebody had taught me that when I was 9 years old." Nobody had dare say to me, "This doesn't work. This is too harsh. This isn't necessary. You can't teach an old dog new tricks," because they're wrong. You can teach an old dog new tricks. You can teach people to give up the myth of racism.
So this is all I got from this video. And first of all, I'm going to start with the idea of I do not see color. I think I really do have a problem with anybody that says that, especially when they tell you that I see color. I want you to know that the person is actually very racist, because telling me you don't see color means that you don't know that I am black and you are colored, or that you are wearing a black shirt, or that you saw the green light and you know that you are supposed to go, but when the red or the amber comes, you know that it's either you are supposed to stop or wait or something or get ready, So this is something that they really have been up to, especially when black people say some certain things and you see them come out. I don't see color. I see everybody as the same. You absolutely know that you don't see everybody as like you see color. That is something you must know, that you do see color and that it's for real, right? And then moving forward, the fact that some of them are always very eager to tell us that it's been long ago, get over it and all that. She actually said, if you are born in America and you are not ready to see that it takes a lot of grace, meaning not just majority of them, but then those people are still going to be the ones in the comment section looking for a way to report somebody's page and all that. It's really been a long time coming for people that look like me and the rest of it. And we are still on it till this very moment, trying to look for a better way to get things right and to make sure that the system has been oppressing people that look like me are dismantled, right? There is nothing that we are fighting. We are not looking for someone to like probably get into physical or no. And I rarely see black people coming out to tell people that you are supposed to do this or you are supposed to do that and the rest of it. I rarely see black people coming out to call somebody up. But we wake up every day to hear so many things and all that. They have done all the adventure, they have done all the discovering and all that, and still everything good has all been accomplished, the social experiment and all that. But they all do that in order to maintain supremacy, right? They absolutely know what they are doing. They know what they have been up to. And number one is that I love the fact that she said that if they are supposed to give up the color of their skin or something, what else do they have? What are they going to tell people? What is something that they are going to say that I am holding on to this, or this is the culture that I am holding on to? Majority of them know that they are also being covered, or like, it's just nothing but their skin that got them covered. That's why each time you ask them some certain question, they become victims straight up, and you see them running up and down, or you see them so uncomfortable. Yeah, it's very rare to sit down with her and talk about racism or talk about race or talk about things that happen. They really they start deflating, and not just deflating, they become kind of aggressive, very defensive. Why do they do that? They come out to gaslight themselves, telling us that I cannot pay for what my ancestors did. I was not the one that did it, or my ancestors never had slaves, and the rest of it. This is what I call gaslighting 101. They absolutely know how the whole thing, the table is going to turn. But the truth is that there is no table turning, because black people are not ready for all that. brouhaha and drama. But one thing that I know that we are very done with is all this kumbaya and all that. We are very much done with it. But we are not looking for table that will turn, because eventually in the end we know how it's going to be. But we are not like that. Is not our concern. Black people's concern at this point in time is to dismantle that system. All of a sudden, slavery benefited slaves. All of a sudden, it is really wild. It is really wild. I remember talking about something some time ago where was really very scared that they are being treated like minority. And that was actually when, sometimes, not really sometimes, Black people talk a lot on how they are going through and things that is happening around them. The truth is that a lot of people actually did not know. Why? Because some people probably do not understand how internet or social media works. You all remember how they use media propaganda to hold my people down, to tell us different stories about us and them. Not until a lot of people started waking up, to started doing research to find out that it was the other way around. Because we were told that my own people are savages. But then I started making research, started digging deep, and I found out who the real savages are. They keep saying that they are being treated like minorities. That was when I knew that there is how they treat minority. Because if there is no how they treat minority, you are not going to come out to tell me that you are being treated like minority. That shows you that they are absolutely holding on to nothing. And the only thing that they want to hold on to is that, because if they lose it, what is going to be their fate? That's why when we talk about how to dismantle the system that is oppressing Black people, when we talk about how do white women help Black people especially allies, to speak out, you see them. Some of them will tell you that I would rather do a silent reach out. Which one is silent reach out or silent ally and all that? They would rather sit back and not talk about it. Why? Because why do you want to take away their power? How do you want them to help you fight racism? So when they are done fighting it, what is going to be of them? What are they going to hold on to? If this has never occurred to you, I want you to know that these are one of the reasons why they have refused to do something about racism, because majority of them, it is something that they will come together and talk about it, and it is all done. Because you all, I'm not going to say we do not know the power women hold. We all know so much that they hold so much power. They are very powerful, you know. But that is not that it's not their problem. That is not something they want to do, because it's also what they want to hold on to. Because if they do not have that, how do you want them to oppress you? See you all in my next video. Bye for now.